Lulu as well, just being good enablers and playmakers. Like, it's just a team full of people who are down to make a play together.
Yeah, and definitely on display in day one, already 2-0. Could be 4-0 by the end of today. They're one of the few teams actually playing all their games for the round robin today. So we'll actually get to see all of them.
I can't tell if that's good or bad. Like, I'm trying to put myself in their position. Like, on the one hand, like, you're done. You know, there's other teams still playing, and you get to relax the next day, or crap your pants maybe, depending on how it goes. You know, and you can't do anything else. It just feels weird to be done when everyone else is still going on. So I'm not quite sure how they feel, but at the very least, their 2 games today will decide their fate for the most part. If they finish 4-0 today, that's first. I mean, there's no way you can lose. So you can lock. You're the only person, or one of the 2 teams, who can lock first today.
All right, we'll see what happens here in this draft at least. Game number 3 for them here up against DFM. Aurelia LeBlanc, Leona, Bandaway, and Kiana Rise, MF on the other side, which all lines up pretty nicely. I think keeping Kiana out of the hands of Mojito especially is a good idea. He's been deadly, at least from Group B on that pick. Lee Sin, though, is the answer, and looks like Aphelios is going to make his way to Udapon's hands there for DFM, alongside the Thresh, which has been a mainstay for Gang and many other supports around the world.
Yeah, I mean, Aphelios Thresh is one of the strongest bot lanes for most of Summer Split. Doesn't feel like it's been super high priority so far through this tournament. People are kind of playing around with the new toys, like we've talked about with some of the Amumu support, the MF, this kind of stuff. But with those taken off the table, we do see a staple. Meanwhile, you know, Galatasaray is still all in on the new champions, the Nami Lucian bot lane that has risen in priority ever since Lucian got that kind of buff with the passive on enemy buffing you get the extra damage. So perfect champion for Nami to throw her E on top of.
Yeah, definitely is like the I want to win lane 2v2. So we'll see if that does happen here. Alive and Zerxing could be awfully deadly in the early stages of the game. Zinzalzo continued to be picked in a lot of different spots. Also the same here for Steel.
Yep. I was going to say, matching lanes so far. You have junglers and then bot lanes fully locked in. So it's one of those situations where you're trying to ban out the enemy team's champions and not banning your own and trying to set up some stuff. So we'll see what they end up going for here. But I do like the Lucian Nami counterpick specifically into the Thresh Aphelios, because Nami's always been pretty good into Thresh. You have move speed on any spell that you cast, you know, making it harder for Thresh to land his hooks and stuff like that. You have sustain. As long as you don't get completely all in, you're going to be winning trades. And even your all-in threat is, you know, it's really hard for them to find opportunity. Lucian's so mobile, and like I said, yourself giving up speed up. So very tough lane, it feels like, for a lot of Thresh lanes into Nami, and we'll have to see if it goes badly, or if the Zen goes down there and they just start chain ganking. Because that's usually the answer, is either you leave them on an island and you take your 15 CS loss, or you try and kill them.
Yep, well, we'll see what happens. That should be a fun one, regardless of how the teams approach the gameplay in there. I guess the other thing is, like, you know, Nami not necessarily the flashiest champion. Zerxing's a fairly flashy player, but stay with me, you know, Bard ulti is a big circle, Nami Q, just a little circle. And the man's skill shot accuracy is very high.
I thought you were going to go to talk about Nami's ultimate being like Bard's ultimate. I was about to give you the stink eye. Like, dude, what are you talking about?
No.
Okay, the Q and the alt being similar, I see it a little bit.
See how good his aim is, though, because, again, much different radii to play with.
Well, and distance, too. Like, Bard's like a downtown sharpshooter, you know, like behind the three-point line from half court, calling your shot. Nami's like, I don't know, mid-range.
It's like a bad layup.
Yeah, yeah, it's like the floaters.
High school jump shot.
The floaters that you do, you know, because the taller person's in the lane, you're like, ah, crap.
Alrighty, Yone Malphite if something getting attention here.
Hey, watch, you have to watch the game before them. Like, we didn't like that.
And going TF, there's Zoe, though, for Arya. Definitely a champion that can have a huge impact on the game, depending on her skill shot accuracy. But Jace there for crazy. Blind is just ready for anything there in the top lane.
I kind of like it as a potential call-out to some of the stuff that Evi's champion pool plays with. Mostly it's a ton of Gnar, Renekton, Set, Tom Kench. You know, it's not a lot of these like gap-closing, assassin-y type top laners that Jace can get all-in by. You know, you talk about potentially Aurelius want to kill him, or Wukongs and this stuff that want to fight a lot. That's not really Evi's playstyle. He's a stable, consistent frontliner, a very good laner, but not the dominant one who's really going to skill check the Jace. And so I feel like this was a pretty safe call-out by them.
Yeah, Evi is had a bad time as far as like
it's not been great.
No, and it's not necessarily his fault. Like, he's been put into very hard spots with Gnar, and it's unfortunately like been in counter matchups for a lot of it. This, however,
this is different.
Is the other side. Urgot in the top side.
Yeah, he hasn't played it in summer at all, but if I remember correctly, I think he has played it historically quite a bit. I'm going to go see if I can look that up.
Pretty confident he's played it.
I feel like I remember watching his international and being pretty impressed by it. I remember him having a pretty clean Urgot. I'll make sure I'm not tricking myself. But overall, two very different team comps. This is a very fragile team comp on the side of Galatasaray. This is like, you know, if you get engaged on, you're dead if you give them that opening, because even your support, a lot of the supports in the current meta are relatively tanky or have some engage potential themselves. Nami is very squishy. Your tankiest member is your Lee Sin. And even then, you know, not much lockdown CC. If someone engages on you, you kick them away, but not like, oh, I stunned them, I'm Braum, I put a shield up. You know, like there's just not that kind of stuff to protect your team comp. A lot of priority in their lanes, and so it looks like a very snowball-oriented game plan from them. And on the flip side for DFM, yeah, you're a much more stable team comp. It's just can you get through the laning phase? Yeah,
again, kind of fighting off the pressure of the Galatasaray is kind of the test that everyone has been put to so far here in this group. If they make it out of the laning phase even or ahead, especially ahead, they're going to feel great. Like, again, this is the team that seemingly converts just about every lead they have, and this is definitely a game where they can get an early lead and run away with the game. But DFM have plenty of comfort picks for one, and also champions that can, you know, find those engages, find those picks on the plethora of targets that are being presented to them. And once again, we will be looking towards the top lane here, because this is a nice change for me to see for Evie, right? No longer on duty. He, like, counterpicked himself and then got counterpicked in their first two games, and he's the one counterpicking.
Yeah, I feel like it was maybe a little bit of DFM relying on their crutches a little bit too much. You know, just like, oh, well, Arya doesn't lose on LeBlanc. Pick LeBlanc. And like, oh, well, Nar's open, and Evie's a great Nar. Pick Nar. And it's like, well, you guys didn't ban any of the counters. Now you're playing Aurelia into it. So I think this is a little bit better of a draft from them. It is still a situation where, you know, we talked about a lot of good lanes for Galatasaray, but if the enemy team wants to take this stuff, there's not much you can do. Starts Eve, nice attempt there, but Balulu able to avoid it, throws the thumbs up emote. Thumbs up, looking like a strong meta pick right now.
Yeah.
In the emote game. Everyone's flashing that thing.
Right at the top of the tier list for Worlds, it seems like right now. Balulu actually
showing the whole rotation.
Is ready with the whole wheel. Doesn't scroll to mouse wheel, perhaps it's just like jamming it.
Yeah.
I love the like attempt on that gank. That's really creative, using Zoe Bubble to try and set up a level 1. Unfortunately, like, Zoe Bubble needs to smack you straight in the face when it's traveling through terrain, and now Arya is going to have a horrible time at level 1. Like, it was never going to be that fun up against Azir early on. Now it's going to be really bad.
Yeah, and I mean, you had other line skill shots. I mean, you had like the Thresh there, and so I could understand them fishing for a pick and wanting to do something.
Oh yeah, I'm here for it.
But not the case there, and I think Zoe decent into Azir. Like, you actually largely don't have too many issues. I'm not quite sure how much not having Q level 1 will affect it. Maybe it's like you just lose level 1 a little bit harder, but once you get your first reset off, it's still fine. You know, so at the very least, Balulu's happy, get a little bit more pressure in the early game, and you'll see Steel laning top to bot. You know, this is interesting to see if this is kind of that attack the Nami game plan I was talking about a little bit. Does feel like potentially the easiest place for them to make plays, but nice ward by Galatasaray. I'm not quite sure who dropped that one onto the Raptors, but they spot out Steel and know where he's going.
Looks like it might have been Mojito based on current cooldowns, but
good
I don't know when he would have placed that. Must have been nice and early.
Once they saw the invade, probably leaked in there and just dropped it. So
smart stuff. To your point though, definitely Zoe should be fine. She grabs levels, especially after a reset, even that. And in theory, Evie should be okay here in his counter matchup, although Jace can be a little tricky to try and navigate against, especially early on, and Crazy has obviously gotten a handle on the matchup early.
Yeah, I don't think this is a I'm going to beat you in lane answer. The Jace should still have priority and pressure for a lot of the laning phase, but you do have some all-in threat. That's kind of what we're talking about. Like, a lot of the matchups against Jace is not really about going toe-to-toe through the first 5 or 6 levels. It's more about, can you kill him later on with some gank assist, and can you provide that gank assist? And I think the answer is a very clear yes for an Urgot. If you land your E, flip him back, Xin Zhao's there, you get your ultimate on top of him, that does feel like a pretty easy kill.
All right, well, so far so good in the 2v2, by the way. Not necessarily what I would have expected. But Felius and Thresh feeling pretty good. Again, this is a lane that you'd opponent getting very happy to play. Not as common these days, but still very potent. And I think the short range is hurting them a little bit here.
Yeah, I was going to say, early levels should go in the favor of Thresh and Felios still. You start with Green Gun every time. You're going to have a little bit of that range advantage. Lucian, more of a caster champion, does want a couple levels to get all of his abilities unlocked. And the Nami lane is not like just insta start winning lane. It's about winning trades over the course of it, and they still have all-in threat.
That bubble was sick nasty out of Xerxing, but Alive is in trouble. Unipon, they're also in more trouble as Nami, looking at the autos happening, needs a couple more second bubble lands.
They might be getting baited.
Yeah, there's Steel around the corner, and now Xerxing's like, uh-oh, I've gone too far, I'm going to have to flash, and Steel follow flashes. Game misses the Q though, and Xerxing Zergsting gets first blood as a result. And now back in they go. Oh, the gravity gun's nice, so Udapon finally gets the kill. But Zergsting, the real winner in bot lane after that play.
He's feeling great, doesn't care. His AD carry died. I got double buffs on the kill. I'm the real carry now. Let's go. Nice play there by Galatasaray's bot lane, being able to win the initial trade, force the Zins out to come down that gank. Nice flash by Zergsting as well, you know, waiting until the potential came in for the knock-up and flashing then. It kind of baited Steel to think he could get underneath the turret, but it was just hard for the rest of DFM to follow up that easily after they already lost a bunch of summoners in the initial trade. It was hard to finish them off. They did end up getting the kill, but very scrappy, and it just starts off with that Bard ultimate, like you called it.
Nice double there, and then Udapon just... This end of this is really wild because we know what's happening. Steel's on the hunt here.
Yeah, and I think it's a good game sense by them to like, okay, we got to back off here. They probably even went a little bit harder than they should have, but you know, bloodlust. And then from here, they just realized, okay, we're gonna kite it out. Like I said, nice flash right before the knockup, so Steel has to get the last hit underneath the turret, and the rest just can't quite have an easy angle onto Zergsting. Though this is a good job by Udapon seeing the little bit of over-aggression there and being able to go underneath the turret and finish off alive.
Well, nice little trade back and forth, but once again, it is Zergsting that reigns supreme. That is a very fast set of new shoes. Moby boots up nice and early.
That's going to be a fast fish, man.
Not a lot of 2v2. Oh, goodness, yeah. Zergsting doesn't miss, it looks like, but nice lance in there from getting Udapon out to safety. That is one of the fun tricks with Aphelios and Thresh. Aphelios is kind of like a big siege weapon, but very immobile. So Thresh is going to help him out there by giving him a little move block there off the lantern. Mojito also down here for a refresher. You know, time for a drink.
And I feel like oh, hold on here.
Oh, I mean, Hook. Does not onto Zergsting. He's going to be the target. Nami, like you said, very squishy. But they're going back in there. Can they make it happen before the TP completes? This looks absolutely tragic. Galatasarray and Evie cleans up one. Is there any more? Mojito going to be the target lined up next. What a flip out of Evie. Gets it there off the back of the gravity gun for the second. And Gang stays alive as Steel cleans up the third. And DFM take 3 in the bottom lane.
DFM doing a better job tracking globals over the course of the game so far. Crazy used his TP for lane. A lot of JSs do. You want to keep that pressure up, but not enough communication with the bot lane to say, hey, if you break out into a 3v3 fight, they're going to be able to collapse. And once that TP came in, you know, Galatasaray is like, we're all in. They tried to go the rest of the way forward and find some kills, but just not enough damage to actually get them. Good job kiting it out and kind of slow playing it for DFM, waiting for that TP to complete. So well done by them to stabilize this bot lane and kind of punish. Like I said, if you're going to do anything this game for DFM, it's going to be playing around your bot lane. And they are executing that game plan really well to make sure that when Lucian wants to go aggressive, when Nami want to actually start winning these trades, you're there to punish.
Yep, 3 assists and a kill there for Udapon, plus 2 tower plates there to get that for taking this reset as well. Just one again. It's just a really nice setup here for the Axe replay.
Yeah, for a second I thought, oh, okay, you know, DFM got baited here. I lost track of the TPs too, but as soon as Evie comes in, you're like, oh god, we're doomed. And so you see the rest of them kind of going all in, trying to find a finish off here. And Evie is just here for cleanup. This sick flash E, just reading Mojito, running beside him, waiting to see the flash, and instantly flash following. That was so sick. Evie's, oh god, man, that thing's clean.
And then last skill's nice and easy. Evie feeling good. Yeah, that's a lucky one.
The eyebrow raise with the sip of water. You don't even need to show me the clip that happened. I know someone just made a good play.
We've been talking about the emote meta in-game.
Yeah.
The out-of-game emote meta now is becoming another layer, and Evie is right at the top of the tier list for me. Wonderful reaction there, picking up the double, basically enabling the triple that happened as Gang on the attack. He's going to force the exhaust there onto Udapon. And Steel, yep, he's in there. Mojito's only level 5. Oh, goodness, least it feels tragic, and that ulti is going to miss. Balulu is going to make sure to shepherd the jungler out safely. Aria looking for the bubbles. Not going to quite land. Crazy just gets away from that bubble pull there in the pit. But again, a nice playback there from Gang. Alive is trying to fire back with the culling. But Udapon and friends are taking it there, and it is just looking tricky here in the 2v2 now. Don't need the pressure anymore because you have the 2v2 pressure kind of extended from that bottom lane play.
Exactly. I was about to go right there. With the bot lane disaster that happened, a lot of that gold ended up on the rest of the map, actually. And so Evie is now a huge threat at 2-0. It's going to neutralize a lot of that Jace advantage. I mean, Jace did grab a lot of turret plates, so not the end of the world. But the other problem is Steel being way ahead now. in having the ability to scrap Mojito out on that red buff and almost solo kill him. And it just makes it so hard for the side of Galatasaray's top side to start making plays where they should have had a decent amount of pressure. So we talked about them wanting to win the early game with this comp, how fragile the comp it is. This is not how you want the game to go pre-10 minutes.
Yeah, again, I think that we've hit it a lot over the course of, a day and a half, but their conversion stats for when they have a lead are extremely good. Don't have a lead right now as we're approaching that kind of first threshold of 10 minutes. Looks like DFM will be up about 1,000 gold at the end of it all. 4-1 in kills, kind of the big difference there, and we'll see if that can balloon into anything further as both teams still in the hunt for first Herald. Actually, as I take that back, Steel's already stolen that one away. Must have been in a replay. And that first dragon, of course, available, although no one's rushing off to the Cloud Dragon.
After they won that skirmish in the top side, they just transitioned that into a free Rift Herald take. So now we'll see where they want to drop it. I feel like with the pressure bot lane has, you might just try and end that lane phase and be like, okay, you pick Nami in for the lane.
Ready for a solo kill, Moxie? I am, and there it is. Evie gonna take it down just so easy.
Not even let me get my words out. Evie is popping off this game. Like we said, at 6, the all-in threat starts to come in, and as soon as he had his ult back up, he goes for it. He blew the ult on that topside skirmish, trying to find the snipe earlier, couldn't find it, but this time with it in lane phase, just such an easy all-in there. It wasn't even close.
And then Moxie making it look all so easy. There is the Herald getting dropped. Plate's already stripped, and that should be about enough to finish it off. In fact, Udapon gonna stick around just to make absolutely sure, shoots down the rest of the wave, and that is a ton of gold continuing to be funneled to this bottom side of the map, and they're even going to grab the dragon off the back of it as well. That is literally wins across the rift for DFM as Arya even stops Balulu in the tracks with the bubble.
Thank God they got that initial kill for Zergsting, because otherwise this is like smelling like a perfect game. This is a disaster.
And that gold lead, like I mentioned, only 700 to 1,000, now shooting up to 2,500. The classic plated steel caps kill from Evie, just what I expect in a 1v1. But yeah, turns out Urgot does a lot of damage, just kind of by base stats alone.
Yep, makes it so that Jace can't really win the trades anymore, and for the all-ins, if you do damage and they don't, as we also saw from Fudge in the previous game, you tend to win those 1v1s.
Well, Udapon's actually topside right now alongside Gang. Looks like a quick 2v2 swap sees to the top seas, but not sure it'll last too long there. No dragon to take though. Herald, of course, already been dropped. That did give DFM that first tower, and Arya's feeling fine. It's been a very isolated mid lane, which I think is pretty common in this kind of matchup. But we'll see if either of them can get out and try and affect the map. That has been such a big strength from Balulu, especially in the games they've already played. And unfortunately, Azir is just anchored to the tower right now against the Zoe.
Yeah, Balulu feels like a big playmaker for the team. We're talking about that at the pre-game, how this is a team full of people who want to get around the map and make things happen. But Azir, not the easiest champ to do it, and especially when things go bad in your lanes. Like, it's not normally easy for Azir to show up, but sometimes, I'll TP follow and I'll make my little Azir sec play and get someone kills and some stuff like that. But when it's gone this bad, you're like, I'm staying under turret and I'm farming against this Zoe. The speed up from the use of the stealing the summoner spell was enough to get the Zoe safe there. Nice job by Arya, seeing the engage coming in and just not needing to blow any summoners to stay alive.
Yeah, walks away, unfortunately whiffing the combo there for Balulu. So out of that tool for, a couple minutes here as DFM continues to try and pile on the advantages. Evie is left alone in his bottom lane island now, and understandably no one wishes to challenge him 1v1 because he is terrifying. Despite being, maybe 10 CS down from this Jace, Crazy knows that he absolutely cannot fight this Urgot right now. Udapon just lets it rip in the top lane. Just firing up the ulti.
I mean, it was that, his ult combined with his Q, combined with Gang's Q from before. Like, it's just like, we have so much pressure, we don't even need our abilities. They're just throwing them out there. Whatever, we'll push to the next wave. We'll keep taking turret plates. And they have the extra comfort of having Steel in their back pocket, even if, Mojito did try and show up. There we go, this one lands.
Yeah, really nice there. Zergsting so squishy. Gang able to take him out so easily there with the Ignite. Does have to flash away, though. But Mojito's here far too late to try and save the support.
Literally fishing.
Yeah.
They are just fishing for Nami under the turret. This one lands, and there you go.
Didn't even need to use the Gale Force. Udapon picked up nice and early. Ooh, Strikebreaker. Once upon a time, that would have been quite the item. Still pretty good, but Arya just going to pop it there as he continues to wave clear again. These mid laners just happily farming back and forth against each other. Arya's like, my team's winning. This is great. Blue is like, what do I do?
Yeah, I mean, for Steel, oh my god, the last stand.
just as I said it, the Gale Force all in from Mutapon gets himself almost a solo kill. There's a bit of help there out of Gang as Steel pops his own ulti to fend off the tidal wave, but gets out from under the tower in time.
Oh god, feels bad, man. That is such an easy game plan for Steel right now. It's like hover around my perma-pushing bot lane in the top side and just watch them take turrets and kill people. And as long as I'm there, what can they do on the enemy team? If they try and keep people behind, guess what? Evi's gonna match. If it Crazy tries to do something, if Mojito's trying to make a play, Steel's already there. You're stronger in the 3v3, you're stronger in the 4v4, you're stronger in the 5v5. It just feels doomed. I don't know what play they have because this team is not a great playmaking team on the side of Galatasaray with the champions that they've locked in.
All right, we're trying to take the jungle right now, so at least overloading this top side of the map and giving Mojito that red buff. It is definitely rough. Have to agree with you there, and Mutapon is only getting stronger. He's almost got a second item finished, it feels like. Goes back, gets a BF Sword, a Vamp, and a Cloak there as well for that extra crit. He's taken 8 turret plates this game. Of course, they're not available to take anymore, but he is unbelievably strong at 2-0 and 4. And Evie finally went back. He went, oh boy. Titanic Hydra is the first purchase here from the Surgot.
Love it, really strong with the W, all the hits that you get off on it. So nice first pickup there. We'll see if this Rift Herald, yeah, they have to leave it.
Oh yeah, just Steel. Living up to his namesake there, takes it away. I mean, it was always going to be rough there for Galatasaray, but...
Thanks for the leash, bro.
Yep.
Feels bad. I gotta say,
it's kind of the tagline of this game at this point, unfortunately, for the TCL.
Yeah, it's just like I want to, have an angle, but there's just when you draft this way and these champions with so much focus on lane priority, and things go bad so quickly, you just don't have the tools to turn it around. Even if you scale fine, like, Jace is actually a decent late game champion, even though he is so early game focused. His damage is pretty good, as long as you stay with the curve of the game. Same with Azir. Lucian as well, pretty decent damage with the extra, crit scaling and stuff that they add to his ultimate and some of these things, but none of you actually do anything but damage, really? And you're very far behind.
Ari also almost continuing to make Xerxion's life very painful. Almost sold out the Nami, forced out the tidal wave, which was very clutch. Did manage to save himself, but unfortunately the incoming ulti is going to do a little bit of poke, but not enough to do much more. It is the towers that they've taken, though, that are really the big prizes. Balulu just has to try and trade back, gets a little bit of gold in the top lane. Yeah,
that's the best you can do. There's no way you're actually going to contest the push in the mid lane with the Rift Herald dropping down by DFM, so you grab gold up in the top side, get some more experience, get some CS from there, grab as much as you can because you can't actually contest them toe-to-toe, and off the back end of that mid push, DFM also grabbing their second dragon.
Yeah, everything just going their way right now. Gold League continuing to tick up. They're up to almost 5k ahead. Ari is working on the first item, but again, not going to be too far away. It is, a small change perhaps in the top lane, but a good one here for Evie. Sticking to his champion comfort, but much more agency, it feels like, in this game on the Urgot.
Yeah, I mean, Evie is looking real good, though he is under a little bit of pressure here.
I'm not worried. Dive. This is fine. 1v3, Steel's in the back pocket.
Yeah.
1v4, this will be fine. Everything's fine. It's not fine. Evie actually shut down by Xerxting, who gets him sweet revenge. Nice pick there for Galatasaray.
Yeah, it felt like DFM might have been in the area to defend that with Steel and Gang near the blue buff, but just too clean by Galatasaray, making that play happen. Getting the 4-on-1 made it just a little rough, and a nice click by Mojito to set that one up, pin him up against the wall. 100-0. Evie could not do much there.
Unfortunately, in a game like this, trades are never made equal, so Arya is going to go ahead and finish off the top tower as the map is just kind of opening up a little bit more. Of course, DFM will hold onto the mid lane bastion, which is a very big sticking point in the mid game, especially when you need to start looking at things like maybe we have to start warding Baron more. We probably have to start contesting for these dragons now because the soul's rolling up. With 2 towers and such a long mid lane there versus such a short one there for DFM. Going to be tough to punch through here if Mutapon continues to defend this tower, which you have to think is going to be a big priority here for Detonation Focus Me, because it just enables so much more space for you.
Yeah, DFM, they have a lot of low commitment pickoff tools. We've kind of already seen that a bunch with how much fishing they can do with the hook and the Zoe bubble. And so when you start posturing around objectives and you know, Galatasaray does not have too many tools to face check, you know, there's going to be a lot of potential kills. The plus side is if DFM gets a little antsy, they get a little frustrated from waiting around, they start the Baron off too soon, you know, you do have a lot of damage, you do have a lot of range, and you can potentially find some pickoffs and force them low. It does feel like a mistake like that will have to be what allows them back into the game. I do like what they've done so far with the trade up in the top side, getting the turret, and then the bot lane play. You know, they are doing what they can, but it's such a hole they have to dig themselves out of currently.
Yeah, Udapon already finished that Bloodthirster, so it is so much power here for the Aphelios if anybody wants to contest, which they don't, because again, Galatasaray at this point are just trying to find trades more than anything else, which, as you said, they are doing a good job of. But DFM, they can walk into the jungle, they can get that vision down. As you mentioned, between the Thresh and Zoe, there is a ton of pick potential, and that is made even better with the power of the Fog of War on your side. And I made a face that you couldn't see, but Mark did. It's because when you're trying to play for objectives and you don't have vision and the enemy has Zoe, it feels miserable to play League of Legends.
Yeah, this is a tough game for trying to contest vision. But luckily, they don't have to quite do it yet. You know, Baron's not up for another minute. And even once it shows up, I feel like you can be a little lax through the first couple minutes of Baron spawning. I mean, if DFM really want to rush it down, that's putting them in a dangerous position. But in the meantime, it does mean it's hard to track their map movement. So with that vision control, 4 people show up in the top side, get a nice chunk of damage down onto that top inner turret.
Again, nice setup here for DFM, using the long lanes here. Setting up these pushes. No need to rush. Again, there's no objective to run to. Baron's not up. There's no dragon for a minute and a half. Plenty of time to take vision control here. If anyone is walking, you know, the silly way through, you'll very easily find a kill here. Even Balulu is not particularly safe if Arya roams back around. Zergsting also looks a little fragile, but Udapon's going to get the tower and get away with it. Balulu shuffles in but doesn't commit the ulti, and here comes Arya. Looking for the bubble, doesn't connect, and now Gang may be caught out, but DFM have enough disengage here to be able to walk away, but Mojito finds a very nice Q, but is not going to take it. It's Detonation Focus, we still having to run away. Gang again needs the Q, but the box is real nice there out of the Thresh, and that's going to disengage the fight finally.
Good job by Gang, forcing the flash out of Mojito. Mojito, you could see, like you said, was hunting for that insect, wanting to find an angle. It is tough against Thresh, you have to wait out the flay, wait all these things, and he got a little over-eager in chasing down. The hook was flying right at his face, and once you force the flash defensively, suddenly the insect threat drops completely, and a good call by Galatasaray at that point to call off the chase down. And it was a decent look by them, getting a little bit of chip damage down while DFM finished off that turret.
All right, we'll see what this next fight looks like, though, because I imagine Detonation Focus Me are going to try and force the enemy to fight them here around this next dragon in 15 seconds. It is the Mountain Dragon. It is, of course, the Mountain Soul, and they're going to be on track for a pretty quick one here if they take this third.
And I feel like for Galatasaray, you sack this one. I like the trades they've been doing so far. You probably can't grab mid lane. It's the only outer turret left, and just with the proximity of the dragon, won't really be an option, so you're probably just going to be taking farm where you can. They are getting some vision down on Baron, but that feels like a risky trade to attempt. And in the meantime, you're just looking to scale up and get some more gold until it actually is that soul point.
Yeah, good point there to just stick to the plan. You've already been trading, no need to deviate right now. Steel, of course, knowing this, has plenty of free time to just casually take the dragon away. Might take a while, it does have a smite ready in charge, so doesn't need to rush. There's nothing happening here. Steel's just going to admire the scenery, take down the dragon.
This is the problem for when you don't have enough threat of anything else for trading. You know, like DFM says, oh, you're not contesting, which again, we were just saying they shouldn't do. Well, then they can just leave one person to do it and actually contest that push that they were trying to get up on the top side. So Galatasaray not getting anything, but Mojito deep.
Big angle. Ooh, TP is very spicy. Udapon going to be the target with the Blasco instead going to save him. Now Gang in trouble. Evie, though, is going to reinforce, and now Crazy's completely caught out of position. Flashes over the other side. Steel pops the ulti as he runs into the potential 1v4. Arya very low, but Gang's going to finish off Crazy. Arya's going to live through it all. Mojito is trying to get in there, but he's not able to get it just yet. Balulu, though, finds 2 with his spin through, but Udapon's still not dead, and that means the rest of the enemies are make it 3 already. 4, in fact, Xerxes the only one left alive, and the ace is on the table and delivered to the enemy AD carriers. Detonation Focus Me are going to find 5 and the Baron.
Really nice reaction by DFM there. It was a nice flank by Mojito trying to pick off Udapon, but the rest of the team instantly react to it. You have TPs coming in from Evie, trying to make sure that he gets out alive. Gang a good job doing his peeling duty as the Thresh, and they ace Galatasaray for 0 kills. Grab the Baron on the back end too.
Which feels pretty good. We'll see what the Red Bull Baron power play looks like as we watch the replay.
So I like this attempt. You know, the kick starts well, get the QRQ combo knocked through, but the Namial was a little slow. If they potentially could have got that knockup before the blast cone came through and Crazy's TP completes, maybe you can 100-0 Utapon. But once that kill doesn't come through, it's a bit of a disaster. There was a good job by Alive chunking out Steel, but it's just too scattered at this point. Crazy also maybe finding the kill on Arya, but because everything was just a little off and they didn't find that first kill, it allowed DFM to all kind of regroup and get on the same side. But Lulu's shuffle is too little too late, and a really nice job by DFM just winning a bunch of these little skirmishes and micro situations.
Yeah, that was a ton of like kind of picks within picks throughout that few.
Yeah.
Like the Zoe bubble was aimed at the Azir and missed but hit the Lee Sin, and then the Thresh Q that did hit the Azir. Oh no, Balulu.
Yeah,
feels bad, man.
I mean, it's tough too because, like you said, they finished their day today. So if you go on a little bit of mental tilt from this game, you have to find a way to recover yourself for later in the day. And just taking a look at the group as a whole, coming off the back of this game, assuming it's a DFM win from here, like it's all up in the air. DFM looked disastrous against, you know, C9 in that first game, but then, you know, they win against UOL. They potentially win again here. We don't know where Beyond's power level is at exactly, given that they had the sub yesterday and the loss to Galatasaray. This whole group feels pretty up in the air still in some ways about where their actual level is. And it makes it a little scary to project into the knockout stage for a lot of these teams and who they're going to be going up against. Because DFM, if this is the DFM you're playing against, is a lot scarier than the one that we saw against C9.
Yeah, I don't think I want to play against this this particular iteration. They are on fire right now. Every little thing is stitching together nicely. Utapon didn't even have to use a summoner spell in that exchange en route to the ace. So, feeling pretty good there, working on the Infinity Edge, which isn't too far away. Neither is the Mountain Soul, which will be up in 2 minutes, but for now it is still this Baron play that Detonation Focus Me are trying to capitalize on. And Mojito is up on the flank once again, but Gang's already shut that down. The hook into the bubble, into the deadly sin, and the flash will not save you. Steel finds that kill.
Good fundamentals by DFM there. Find the threat, find the flanking Lee Sin, make sure he can't possibly get an insec off. Go kill him, and then go back to that siege so your Aphelios feels totally safe. I'm sure this turret will drop in the inhibitor soon to follow. It's really hard for Galatasaray to do anything to contest this.
And they will not. They will instead lose one, and now an inhibitor to go with it. Thankfully, there are no other waves pushing, but that might not be the game plan. Detonation Focus Me
just ended.
Aiming down the towers instead as Utapon takes the lantern out from under Zergsting's bubble. And okay, we're done here.
Are they though?
I don't know.
Are they though?
Maybe not.
Mojito's respawning. Maybe there's an attempt to punish them on the way out? No. Not going to be the case. A nice 4,000 gold Baron buff power play.
I'm very scared for you. Thankfully, the enemy team is recalling. Oh, Utapon actually taking the red buff and going away. Zergsting not going to face check. Utapon is going to get away with this.
So funnily enough, the Baron buff timed out. So everyone else got an empowered recall off. He didn't. That was a blue trinket a little bit late. If Galatasaray got that blue trinket off a little bit more, that would have been a funny timing window where he gets the 8-second recall instead and gets punished and killed. Doesn't end up working out, you know, game of inches sometimes, and DFM gets their reset off for this final Soul Point Dragon.
Yeah, instead, off the back of that, it's Infinity Edge and Stopwatch now finished for Utapon. So if he wasn't a problem before, which he was, he's now an absolutely massive thorn in the sides of Galatasaray, who are just trying to keep themselves in this game. Balulu finally finishes his new hack, does have a death cap up and available, but it does feel too little too late, down almost 10,000 gold on the verge of losing the Mountain Soul.
Yeah, I mean, at least you got 2 item power spikes on your AD carry and mid laner here, as well as top completing the transformations, so... or excuse me, that's just Cyrillus. So the blue pointy arrows going one way and then going the other is the only way to like really differentiate them. Kills me. I hate it.
All right, well, Mojito's looking for the steal. This is a very clutch one to try and grab it. Gang again already running interference. Puts up the box completely. Boxes Lee Sin out of that play, and Steel's going to smite the dragon away. Alive is trying to make it happen, but he's not going to get it. Zergsting instead's going to be the target. Zinza ulti lets him rip Mojito low and down and out. It's Utapon with the ulti on a rampage. Takes down one already, make it a third. There is Steel grabs one. Arya makes it 2. Alive's now going to be the 4th kill as they're on for the ace once again as Arya and Balulu are doing battle, but it feels like the final time this game because Evie has had enough. Get him off now, get him on Urgot, and he's going to end the game.
A clean 27.5 minute snowball by DFM off of a bot lane play. They go bounce back after day 1, picking up a win here and keeping their hopes alive in this group.
And, you know, we talked about it. Aphelios Thresh, not as popular now as it once was, but you can see why they went for it. Udapon looking so comfortable on that champion, and they had the game plan ready to go. Evie had the TP, and they punished the 2v2 greed of Galatasaray.
Just really good understanding of how they were going to win this game, knowing that bot lane was going to be the easiest thing for them to contest, the early path going down there to help stabilize, the TP usage, being aware of Evie saying, okay, Jace TP top, I have a window in the bot lane if we force a fight, taking a 3v3 that's really a 3v4, and after they win that one so hard, they were so clean. There was never a moment really felt like Galatasaray got their foot, you know, stabilized, that they felt like they were back in the game.
And you said it, like, you know, kind of early into the game, it's tough to have to say it, but like, what do you do? And unfortunately, the answer was not very much, because the game is firmly in the hands of a team that knows not to throw it away. And Evie, I was reminded why he's such a fun player to watch at Worlds. It isn't just, you know, how good he is, how proficient he is on his champions. It's the out-of-game stuff. It's all the intangibles for me. He's like cheering and smiling as they leave. He's giving them thumbs up. He's, you know, smiling, sipping his water as he solo kills people. It's a good time.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great game by them. And I think it was Emily yesterday talking about, like, it's hard to debate who's like the best player from Japan all time, you know, and is it Evie, is it Udapon, you know. Both guys had a pretty good game to stamp on their resume after that one. Both of them popped off.
Yeah, and again, this is a team that has been here many, many times, right? A region that has only gotten stronger as they've attended more international events. This team especially has attended almost all of them, so they've definitely been